my lecture recital. I am Cesar Hernandez. I am a Master's of Music student in Jazz Performance at Cal State University Northridge. I want to give a thank you to my committee for their assistance in guiding me for this project. I'd like to thank Sean Cole and the production music department office at CSUN for allowing me to use this recital hall for this presentation. So without further ado, I'd like to begin. My lecture recital is an exposition on integrating music and performances from the LA jazz scene into local college jazz communities. Beginning with a thesis, it states that despite the challenges that are associated with integrating into the local jazz scene, LA students of higher education can access its music and performance spaces by seeking out community from musicians, mentors, and organizations. And so pictured here is one of the more prominent and established venues for jazz in LA, LA County Museum for the Arts, and the famed Urban Lights display. Starting in May until the end of October, there is jazz every Friday evening. This is a free event. And as a high school student from Los Angeles, I took a lot of joy in coming to this event and meeting a lot of jazz greats. And there's a lot more that this space does for the community than one might even realize. Beginning with the first part of my presentation, I'd like to talk about integrating into the scene. So starting with some of the challenges, jazz students in Los Angeles are limited and may face challenges and may face difficulties looking for venues because it is difficult to find public listings because of certain restrictions of their age. Some students might not be 21 yet, and a lot of clubs and venues restrict people from coming in because of their age. Another factor that deters college students at a young age from seeking out live music is their financial limitations. Lastly, venues come and go in Los Angeles, and there's a deep and storied history of venues that are historic, but they are no longer, as well as venues that fill the void for others. And the power of the funny thing of it all is that things come and go. So this interactive presentation here allows you to click on these links and gives you examples of why these are challenges. And so some of the things that I did was link you to Catalina's Jazz Club's website, and they are a historic venue. But on average, the price point for their events are close to $50. For age restrictions, I listed you to Sam First Bar, and their events usually reflect that all of their events are 21 plus, including their jazz jam. And so for the listing, I found this website, LA Jazz Picks. A little bit more on that on the next slide. And lastly, this Downbeat article details the closure of the Blue Whale, the closure of other venues in LA, not the Blue Whale, but the opening of ETA in Highland Park. This was in 2018, and sadly ETA closed down in 2024. So that is the story of venues closing. Going back to the list of performances, my second slide details this website that is connected to LA Jazz Picks, which is lajazz.com. Now, jazz columnist Tom Meek, who used to write and pick jazz and music concerts for LA Weekly from 2013 until 2017, curates and manages both sites. So every Monday he will release a lineup of events happening that week. And while this is very helpful, a lot of these are kind of difficult to suss out, meaning that they are still not as helpful for college students, despite the fact that they are listing the venues, the dates, the artists that are being featured. And so we have a lot of these established venues around town. Some of them namely are the Mint, the World Stage in Leimert Park, the Lighthouse Cafe in Hermosa Beach, the Baked Potato in Studio City, all of which have a lot of history, all of which are some of the oldest venues in LA with missions to carry the jazz tradition forward. And so these links will take you to more information on the jam sessions there, about the history, and a lot of progressive and a lot of established and emerging artists come through these venues, whether or not they are from LA, but these also provide opportunities for college students to listen to live music. So moving forward, what could be possible solutions for, what could be possible alternatives for college students and those student communities to access live music? And so what I've done on the next couple of slides is that I will be introducing record labels, nonprofit organizations, and lastly jazz festivals, which actually are making it their mission and which do have a record of fostering that community for students in college. Beginning with Leaving Records, you can find out more about their founder, their mission, and everything like that on their website, and peruse through their artist page, because they do have a lot of cool aesthetics. And so just returning to the main point, the community-based series, Listen to Music Outside in the Daylight Under a Tree, and its variants have created accessible spaces for all. And so these are donation-based events outdoors. So this provides a kind of just open and welcoming environment for music to be displayed by emerging and established LA artists, but also so that no one is turned away for financial reasons. And so some of these artists like Shashi Dar, Adam Hirsch, Sam Wilkes, and Jacob Mann, Josh Johnson, they've all participated in these events, and they have archived photos. Their music is out through this record label, and if you click on this link down here, you will see one of those performances. Next up, I'd like to talk about Minaret Records. If you click on their, here on this link, you will be routed to their shows. And so I've included a couple of quotes here from some interviews and video clips that are on YouTube. And they are very telling. So I'll begin with this quote about Yusuf Hilmi, who is the founder of Minaret. And this is from the introduction of this video, which states, "This year alone, Minaret Records has thrown 40 jazz shows and counting. They are a Los Angeles-based record label founded by Yusuf Hilmi. The more that I researched and learned about this record label, the more I realized that their influence goes beyond a record label, that their influence in less than a decade, as stated in the second quote, it has impacted the community and been important for the emergent scene." So beyond their shows, beyond their record label, they have a jazz festival, which is at this date and time has taken place twice in Los Angeles. And what was special about the last one was that it spanned over across multiple days at multiple locations in LA. And so beginning with this video, I'd like to, you can see some events and a bit kind of a journalistic style video about Minaret Records. And here is this video that I'd like to play for you, which is an interview with Logan
all
Payne.
of the songs where you...
and this discusses their foray into collaboration with
Minaret. Want the sheet music, you will be able to have the sheet music with this composition book. It's like 20, so very excited about that.
You guys are releasing this album with LA Jazz and Minaret. Can you describe how you came in contact with Minaret first and what Minaret means to you?
Right. I mean, so we played the very first ever Minaret show. What year was that?
2000.
Yeah, 2020. And when he reached out to us, it was like, oh my god, this sounds amazing. Like, this bill's so crazy. It was with Greg Saunier from Deerhoof and Nick Reinhardt and Rare Earth Metals was one of the other bands. And at that point, I don't think anyone had really like approached us about like, people were like interested in our music, but no one had been like, hey, do you want to play this Outside World ever? And we were like, whoa, that sounds awesome. And the show was like amazing, and it cemented a very nice, it was an amazing first impression that only continued to get better over time, especially with all the work that you put in to build the label and where it is now. So it feels very full circle to release it with them.
Yeah, I remember I met Yusef at Blue Whale, or I think we met at an art show first, but then we met, I've been seeing Yusef around, but I remember seeing Yusef at it was like some outdoor concert, and I was just about to release my solo album, Nighttime Head Crunch, and I'm kind of trying to figure out some kind of like merch thing, and immediately Yusef was like, oh, yo, like, I got you, like, let's work on this, and he was just very like, immediately just trying to support and be helpful, and just came through like super huge, kind of for no reason really, other than just like excited, you know. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then also Minaret in general just feels like it is a really cool, very like time, it's like arriving like on time, you know, because there was the pandemic, and then a lot of these venues closed, and like Yusef kind of just stepped in this role of like providing a solution to the people's need for live music and live concerts, especially with like younger musicians and a lot of the amazing younger music that's happening here. And so it's definitely just like an honor to get to be a part of that, and like I really just believe in the mission and just like the trajectory of Minaret, and very excited that we get to be a part of. Just, I really feel like it's going to be something that people look back on and like, oh yeah, that was like a time and place for music in this, you know, day and age.
That is a excerpt from an interview with Logan Payne and Henry Solomon for their release of their duo project called Outside World, which I found very interesting. And so Logan Payne, I will be discussing and bringing him back into my presentation later on. Next, I'd like to mention Scribble Community as one of the emerging and recent venues to pop up into the scene, and they are a very special outlier in this presentation, but not only in this presentation, just as a concept. That they exist is a very, very fortunate addition for the community, because they are a space for therapy and other groups during the daytime, but in the nighttime they are a legitimate venue. And as pictured here, they have connection with Minaret because they have upcoming concerts. On the last side, their Winter Jazz Festival, one of the days of the festival took place at Scribble. So if you click on these links, you will get information on all of the venues, on the event. And so next they have ties to the college community. Keelan Thorns is a graduate student at Cal State Northridge, and he was able to perform his graduate recital at Scribble last month on April 18th. And there is a very cool story to that, but I digress. Keel and Thorns is connected to the Scribble community via performing in Johnny Cosmo's ensemble. Johnny Cosmo is the founder of Scribble. And so there is a very direct line of the community existing prior to the music even being presented here. So that was one of the cooler things that I saw this year as far as a collaboration. But going back to last year, and since they just opened up a year ago, Jeff Parker, in collaboration with Cousins, a group with Bobby Radford and William Roper, was promoted here. And in the description, they list this event as a dry event. And this venue is a dry venue, which means that there's no alcohol being sold at this venue. And once again, that is very important for fostering an all-ages community, and that includes college jazz students who are looking to participate and be exposed to good live music, jazz music that is. And so moving forward, I'd like to talk about jazz festivals, their significance and their importance in this mix. So beginning with Angel City Jazz Festival, it was started in 2008, and as their website from their About page states, their mission is that they're a music presenting nonprofit organization committed to cultivating and revitalizing jazz culture in Los Angeles. And that was a very powerful statement for them to make, because they are recognizing the need for community, and they are fulfilling that need. And so their jazz festival, very similar to Minaret, but they are the precursor to it, is that it is multiple days long across multiple locations, which include LA County Museum for the Arts, LACMA for short, 2220 Arts and Archives, Disney Hall, just to name a few of them. And lastly, there's something very cool which is tied to their festival, which is the Young Artist Jazz Competition. And that is a competition that is a progressive platform for students aged 16 to 24 to showcase their original music, and they perform at the Jazz Festival. And so past winners have included combos from USC, CSUN, and UCLA, and you can learn more about that through their website. Next, I'd like to mention LA Jazz Society. They are significant because they have been also one of the oldest established nonprofit organizations. You can find out more about them through this link. And so the reason that I mention them is because their Jeff Clayton Memorial New Note Award is an award that was created in this century by the founder, the chair of LA Jazz Society, John Clayton. His brother, in memoriam of his brother's passing, created this New Note Award, which, as their website describes here, is an award that keeps rising stars in mind, and so that is one of the requirements here. So, okay, so reviews possible candidates for the commission and making a decision based on the record of achievement. And so basically what they want to see is an emerging jazz artist coming out to commission them to make a suite of music in memoriam. And this is an award created specifically for that. All right, and so you have a listing of all of these past recipients, and they're very specific in mentioning that they are college students, whether they're in their graduate studies, but usually they are, already very talented musicians, and this is a great avenue for them to explore. This lecturer had the opportunity to participate and compete in 2019, but sadly, the competition. And so Going back to the presentation, USC student Nicole McCabe won 2022. And they are important for her career as one of the achievements in her career. Secondly, they're significant because they have an annual Jazz Tribute Awards, and this past year it took place at Plaza del Sol, which is located on the C-Sun campus. And clicking this link will show you more about that, but one of the highlights of this is that they included a combo from Cal State Northridge. Moving on to the second part, I'll read this to you. LA Jazz programs at community colleges, universities are pipelines for students to integrate into recognized communities and gives them opportunities to collaborate with musicians around them. So for example, Cal State Long Beach and Cal State Northridge are two major jazz programs that are in the LA area. And so if you click on their, on each school, you will have information about their programs. And so alumni, mentors, and faculty are invaluable for students, but so are student communities in each program. And so that's why I wanted to mention that each college program is significant, even though there is certain disconnects from the scene. But what connects them to the scene and to each other are the student communities. So here are other college communities, whether they are community college, undergraduate, and graduate level jazz programs, like LA City College, Santa Monica College, University of Southern California, California Institute for the Arts, the Herbie Hancock Institute of Jazz at UCLA. So clicking on all of these will give you information about each program. So going back to the beginning part of my presentation with Outside World and Minaret, I did get the opportunity to interview Logan Kane, as he was a combo mentor at Cal State Northridge this semester, and I was very lucky to be able to approach him after a semester and sit down with him. And so audio and a transcript of my interview are available here. But I narrowed down this interview to include several quotes that I found to be having like nuggets of information. So this first quote states, "I just think going to music school in general anywhere is great because you do meet that network of people that you work with your whole life." And this is him reflecting on his student experience at USC. Okay, so next, another quote that he gave me was his thoughts on advice for connecting to the LA jazz scene. And so here he states, "I think making yourself available and putting your music out there is a really good way to get into the community. So whether that's through social media, posting videos, offering to help out with people's work, like say, hey, if you ever need a trumpet player for this piece, I'd be down to rehearse it for you or something. You know, sort of offering your service in a way that's very humble with no expectation really of money or anything." And so this is one of those challenges that younger jazz students have to face as they integrate themselves into the scene and having this pressure of knowing how to network, knowing how to put themselves out there. And in this interview, he does speak on his experience cold emailing the Mint and just getting a very positive experience out of it because they did make an offer for him to perform there. And that was a very impactful thing for him. So last but not least, were his thoughts on the scene when he first moved to town. And this is this is one of the more important questions for me to him. And so he says, part of moving to LA was, I knew I wanted to have a career here, whereas in New York, I felt like I might have had a very short go of it there. Just natural constraints of living there. But LA, just the music that was happening here, especially with Noir and Louis Cole and Genevieve Artadi, I knew that was something I wanted to try to be a part of. I never thought I would actually get to be such a part of it. I just, it was a goal I had set. It was so inspiring for me. It made me really want to write a lot of music and also collaborate with a lot of those people, and which I ended up getting to do. And wow, what a revelation, and just really just getting to see his perspective and how much that impacted him. Explains a lot to one who is just emerging themselves. And so, with that being said, I wanted to choose songs that reflect the sounds of the community, and they feature LA jazz musicians, and some of those people I have mentioned throughout this project. And so my songs were Simple Song by Josh Johnson, Spring by Ben Wendell, Laughing in Her Sleep by Lewis Cole. And these are all songs, and also The Truth by Moonchild. These are songs that were chosen because they involve performers who are LA based, or that these performers had their careers begin here, and that they are important for the community. And the last two songs that I included were Cornelius by Jeremy Stein and Cielo Rojo by Cesar Hernandez. And these are two compositions written by college students. So those are reflective of the community. And so in conclusion, the ongoing and present community in LA is significant for performance venues and the music created by established and emerging artists. The access to live music is an invaluable resource for college jazz musicians and community aids in propelling students towards their professional careers. I had a lot of fun putting this project together and researching it, so if there are any questions or any comments, I would love to hear from you. My email is listed on this, and that concludes my presentation of integrating music and performances from the LA scene into local college communities. Thank you.